One of the most interesting things that happened while I was at the AIDS Council was the youth campaign with a very memorable poster, "When you say yes to safe sex." Where that came from was we had a youth group and we had federal government money in, I think, 3 states at the time to specifically focus on young gay men. And as with the structure of all our education programs, we had one professional staff, Mark Goggin, and he recruited a team of volunteers, about 12 young men. What they found over a 6-month period through their own research, just their own discussions within the group, but then they did some focus group research with people out in the community, is that men who were already involved in the gay community knew about safe sex, but men who were young enough that they'd never been to a gay venue, never read a gay magazine, just didn't know. And it's a challenge of health promotion, even if people know the information, like we know from smoking campaigns. Everyone knows smoking's dangerous, but it's harder to get people to change. Well, once people knew about safe sex, it was hard to get them, to get us all to practice safe sex. But young men didn't even know about it. So that group came to our education committee, same structure, me as the manager, but 7 or 8 volunteers. And the youth team said, could we do a campaign to try and reach men before they get involved with the gay community? And of course, the education committee said yes. We had this Commonwealth government funding, limited amount, but let's do a leaflet. Then the youth team said, well, how are we going to reach these young men? And they did, that's right, they did focus group research again with young men like 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds. What are the most common magazines you read, apart from the gay press? And what they found was TV Week. That was the biggest magazine in Australia at the time. And lots of 17, 18-year-old gay men who hadn't come out yet, they would read TV Week. So the youth team asked me, can we put the ad into TV Week? And I said, well, I doubt we'll have the budget for it, but at least contact them and ask. Well, they contacted TV Week, heard no reply. TV Week said, can you send us a copy of the ad you want to put in? They were asking for what would it cost for a full page ad. They heard no response from TV Week for about a week. And then we had in the media the state opposition health spokesperson, Mari Tien, saying the government should withdraw money from the AIDS Council because they're putting these ads in, recruiting young men into the gay community, and you're promoting bad behaviour. And we hadn't even had a response from TV Week, so we still don't know to this day what it would have cost. Maybe we could have raised the money. So then immediately we were faced with 2 things. One was, how do we deal with the fallout with the government? Carolyn Hogg, who'd always been a supporter of the AIDS Council, felt she couldn't support this campaign, so she agreed maybe we should reconsider funding to the AIDS Council. I think that's all she said. She didn't say we'll withdraw it. But she knew she wasn't going to be Health Minister for more than another few months. So we had to deal with that. We had to deal with internally within the AIDS Council. People were saying, you've jeopardised funding to our support program, to people living with HIV. You education people are out of control and you're embarrassing all of us, and something has to be done. But we also had to deal with, we still want to reach the young men who haven't come out. So it was my partner Lee Holloway's suggestion. He was our fundraiser at the time, but he knew about PR. He said straight away, let's turn this threat into an opportunity, get on to the major newspapers. Within 24 hours, we had a photo of that on the front page of The Age, and they printed the whole text. And we had a front page of the Herald Sun that the front page was a bit critical. I can't remember what photo they had. I think it was our president, Peter Grant. And within 2 or 3 pages into the Herald Sun, they reprinted the whole text. So we actually achieved our purpose without government funding, but a little bit of controversy. And then we had to, over time, it became clear that the AIDS Council realised the funding threat was just a politician's statement. And we had a float in the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, which again was an attempt to get that on television. So we had a big blow up 3x3 metre float with the two boys kissing, and it was surrounded by young men from our youth team on the float kissing, which we liked. And then bit by bit we realised the gay community really loved it. And one of the surprising things, we had a lot of trouble. I think this was about 1987, 88. We had a lot of trouble by then getting our posters onto the walls of gay venues. And suddenly we would walk into gay venues in Melbourne and see this on the wall. People were, the very same people who'd criticised the AIDS Council at times for being too gay positive, suddenly thought, hey, we'll get behind this, we've got a controversy. And so in the end it worked.